Hello, this is Ari with Modern Telecom, here to talk to you about the V series phones by Fanvil. Here we have the V64, the V65, and the V66 Pro. The V66 Pro model differentiates itself from the V66 by having a cordless handset. So when you pick up the handset from the cradle, there's no cable in the bottom of it, just charging contacts. There's also some volume buttons and a hang-up button here as well. These models do have cords which connect to the phones. I just don't have them hooked up for the purpose of the demonstration. The V65 and V66 phones also feature screens which can tilt back or forward to accommodate different seating positions. The V64 is a fixed display screen, so it does not move. The V65 and V66 models have video decompression capabilities, so they can display video from many of our Doorphone models like this. Here is an infographic showing what each of the hardware buttons do on the V-series phones. Down the sides of these phones, you've got buttons which are tied to extensions. These we call BLF lights, and what they do is they indicate the status of your colleagues in the organization. They can also be used for speed dials and other customizable features. All the phone models have these available buttons, except with this model, they're on screen. And you do get quite a number of them because there's a More button. And when you press the More, the entire screen can turn into one big grid of feature buttons. There's also multiple pages, page 2, 3, and 4, which we can add additional buttons to. On these model phones, there is also a More button, which will toggle pages of all the buttons on the screen as well. So if you've got buttons which aren't on the screen, make sure you push this button down here and it will toggle between different pages. Same with the V64 model. These lights and the colors of the icons next to the labels indicate the status of your colleagues' extensions. So for example, if I take this line off hook on the colleagues' extensions, the light has turned red to indicate that that particular extension is in use. If this extension were to be put into Do Not Disturb, then on your colleague's extensions, the light turns orange to indicate you're in a Do Not Disturb status. And when you're receiving a call or making a call, your colleagues will see the light flashing red. Flashing red will indicate that you are getting a call. You can also use these buttons as speed dials to call your colleagues. So simply tapping the button instigates the call. If a colleague is getting a call, but they're not at their desk, and we've allowed for the appropriate permissions, you can use what's called a pickup feature on another extension. So for example, let's say that 102 over here is going to be calling 101. Somebody at desk 103 sees that their colleague is getting a call because the light is flashing. They can now push that button and answer the call that has been ringing on another extension. To make outgoing calls, you would just dial the 10-digit number from the keypads. You do not dial a 1 before a number. All calls with Modern Telecom that are going to Canada or the US are considered a local call. After you've dialed the 10th digit, the phone will automatically complete the call for you. For example, here's the 10th digit.
Modern Telecom.
The call's automatically completed.
To learn more about our company.
That's why it's important not to put a 1 in front of a number, or you'll end up not being able to get that last digit in because we have an auto dial feature set up on the 10th digit. If you were dialing a phone number that is less than 10 digits, for example, a local extension, you would have to use a dial button that you'll see on the phone. For example, I'm on this phone and I want to dial this phone, which is extension 103. I'll now have to press the dial button on the phone to complete the call. The same thing exists on this model. There's the dial button there. If in your business you are going to be making international calls that require up more digits, up to 16 digits if you're dialing certain countries, please let us know, as we will have to remove the auto dial feature from the phones so that you can dial additional digits. And then you'll have to use the dial button to complete a call, similar to what you're doing on your cell phone now. After you've typed in your phone number, then you have to push a dial button to complete the call. To transfer calls from one phone to another, I'm going to demonstrate this by calling this phone. Now from this phone, I'm going to transfer the call to this phone. I have them on a speed dial button right here. The light is green, so it shows me that they're available. I can simply just push that button while I'm on the phone, and then I can hang up. What's happening now is that it is ringing through to this phone. Now this phone is on a phone call with this phone because we transferred it. This is what's called a blind transfer because it was just a simple one push button to immediately transfer the call over. Another way to transfer a call is an attended transfer. An attended transfer is where you would have a conversation with the receiver first before completing the call. I'll give you another example. I'm going to call this phone from this one. Now I'm going to have an attended transfer over to this phone. So to do that, I'm going to push the transfer button. Now, at this point, I'm going to type the phone number of this phone, not push the speed dial button. If I push the speed dial button, that's going to instantly transfer it as a blind transfer. Instead, I'm going to type in the extension and push dial. Now, these two people are actually having a conversation. They can introduce the caller and say, hey, I have somebody on the call for you. Would you like to accept the call? And if the person says yes, you can go ahead and transfer them through. I'll now push the transfer button again, which will complete the transfer. And it says, please hang up. This phone is now disconnected, and this phone are now talking. That is an attended transfer. Another way to move a call between phones or colleagues is to park a call. Parking a call does differ slightly from placing a call on hold. I'll explain what hold is next. But parking a call allows it to be retrieved from any additional phone. So I'm going to call this phone. I'm going to answer the call. Now I need to go locate my colleague somewhere in the building to see if they're available to take the call. So rather than transferring it and risk them not being at their desk, I'm going to push the park button. What's happened now is that this light where it says the parking spot is actually flashing red. It's going to do that on all the phones within your organization. So at any phone in your company, you can go and retrieve that call by simply pushing the park button. So once I've located my colleague and explained to them that I've parked a call for them, they can go to any available phone and unpark the call. So I'll go to this phone here and I'll push the parking button. And now I've retrieved that call on this phone. You can keep doing this and moving calls around between phones. I'll park it again, go back to this one, and unpark the call. So it's considered like a hold feature, but publicly held so that any phone can retrieve that call. Now that differs from hold because if I place a call on hold, you can see that the line is still open. It's still on this phone. The parking light is not flashing. So no other phone in the organization can retrieve this call. It's a private hold only for you. This is only good if you need to put them on hold because someone has a question at your door or you need to check an email or something, and then you're going to come right back to that call. So it's not for the sake of transferring to somebody else, but just to keep it held on your phone. You can then just push the resume button and you resume the call. Again, hold. You can hang up the receiver when it's held. And when you want to resume, resume. Now, supposing you need to locate your colleague somewhere in the building, you might want to give them a page. We have a button on the phone called paging. I've only assigned it on this phone for example purposes, but depending on your needs, we would have applied this button to any of the phone model that you've chosen. That button down here, a little bit hard to see because of the wallpaper, but it is there. When I push this paging button, I'll be able to record a message, and then when I hang up the phone, it will broadcast the message to all the phones. And in this example, we've even added an additional feature that will broadcast the message to the intercom speaker as well. These can be used as annunciation devices in addition to intercoms. So you'll hear the page come out of everything. This is a test page. I'm sending a test page.
This is a test page. I'm sending a test page.
Our conference server feature allows multiple phones and external callers to be merged together very simply by simply dialing a virtual conference extension. By default, we will have created a conference extension on your system called extension 333. We may have also put a speed dial button on your phone. If we haven't, you can access the feature by simply dialing 333. In this case, I have the feature button on this phone, and if I push it, you'll hear a message saying that it's joining the conference server. But since there's nobody else who's joined the conference, this will be the only phone in the conference, so it's just going to play some music.
Welcome to the conference server. You are now entering the conference. You are the first participant in the conference. Please hold the line.
All right, so we're listening to music, waiting for additional people to call in. So you could have an external caller call in. A receptionist could transfer them to the extension 333. And from any local phone, you can simply dial and now the two phones have joined up into the conference. An additional phone can dial as well.
Welcome to the conference server. You are now entering the conference. There are 2 more participants in the conference.
And now we have 3 people joining in on the conference. Again, if somebody had called in and you were speaking to somebody on the phone, you could transfer them to that extension. I'll give you an example of that next. I'm going to leave these 2 from the conference, and I'm going to use this phone to call this phone, 103. Now, in the same way that I did my transfer before, if I have a speed dial button, I can simply push it. If I don't, I can push transfer 333. I don't need to actually dial. I can just immediately transfer it over.
Conference server. You are now entering the conference. There is 1 more participant in the conference.
And now we've transferred this caller into the conference, simulating what that would have been like for a client or vendor who had called in from an outside line. The last person that hangs up just ends the conference. The voicemail system will work in 2 ways. One, if we have an email address on file for you, then you will receive your voicemails by email. If you have subscribed to our transcription service, you will also receive a transcribed in text version of your voicemail, and the audio file will be attached to the email. There's also always the option of retrieving the voicemail directly on the phone by pushing the mailbox button. This mailbox button will light up solid red if there's voicemail waiting for you. If it's your first time pushing this button, you'll be prompted to record a personal welcome message as well as a name.
This is the main menu of the mailbox. To hear your message, press 1. To change your access code, press 2. To record your name, press 3. To record a personal welcome message, press 4. Please start recording your name after the tone. When finished, press the pound sign.
Administration.
To listen to your recording, press 1.
Administration.
To listen to your recording, press 1. To use your recording, press 2. This is the main menu of the mailbox. To hear your message, press 1. To change your access code, press 2. To record your name, press 3. To record a personal welcome message, press 4. Please start recording your greeting after the tone. When finished, press the pound sign.
Thank you for calling administration. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you.
To listen to your recording, press 1. To use your...
Thank you for calling administration. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you.
To listen to your recording, press 1. To use your recording, press 2. This is the main menu of the mailbox. To hear your...
So as you can tell, what differs between recording a name and your personal welcome message is that your name is just as it says, just your name. I didn't record a greeting when I was prompted to record my name. I just said the name of the extension. Then I went into the options and I recorded the personal greeting. This is the one that will play when somebody reaches your voicemail box. So you can make that one more elaborate. Don't hang up the phone after you're done recording the greeting. Make sure you've pressed the pound button and then selected the option to use this greeting. Otherwise, simply recording it and hanging up will not have saved the greeting. Now, why did we record that name? Recording the name is really just for the directory services. So if you're using an auto attendant and being transferred to an extension by the auto attendant, then the auto attendant will announce that name to confirm that the person has entered the right extension. For example, the auto attendant might say, "Thanks for calling ABC Company. If you know your party's extension, enter it now." You would then type in that extension, and the system will say, "Transferring you to administration," since that's the name that I recorded for that extension. It's otherwise not used in any other place. So if you want, you can skip that step and simply record a greeting. If you don't record a greeting or a name, a system-generated one will be provided. So it's not like you won't have anything recorded as your greeting. The default message will still be played. If I'm going to be in a personal meeting with somebody and don't want my phone to ring during the meeting to disturb me, there's a feature called Do Not Disturb. Pushing Do Not Disturb will silence the ringer on the phone and direct all incoming calls to your voicemail box. When you turn on the Do Not Disturb feature, the light will either turn red, and you'll also notice a stop sign logo in the top of the screen. Here I've got the stop sign logo at the top of the screen as well. When you've pushed the Do Not Disturb, calls will be directed to your voicemail, and your colleagues who have your speed dial button on their phone will notice that the color has changed to yellow to indicate that you're busy. If you want to look up your colleagues in a staff directory on the phone, perhaps you don't have them on a speed dial, but if you have a big organization, then maybe you need to search through a directory. To access that directory, there's a button called Directory on the phones. Once the directory is on the screen, you can use the up and down arrows to scroll to find the colleague that you need to call. It actually displays their extension number over to the side, so you can confirm that it's or learn who what their extension is before you call them. Once you've highlighted the person you want to call, you're just going to press the dial button or lift the receiver. The call log uses a similar layout as the directory, so that button is located right next to here. The call log will show you all the calls that you've made, in, out, or missed. So in this one, you're actually moving from side to side to move through the tabs along the top. So in this case, if I move the tab to the right, this is showing me all the inbound calls to this phone. If I move again to the right, that's now showing me all the outbound calls. And further to the right are the missed calls. Same thing from this phone. Only you're going to be touching. You can use the arrows, but you can also use the touch screen on this one. So there's all the missed calls. There's all the inbound calls. You have the dial button located on the bottom right of the screen and here as well. So you can call anybody back from, let's say, your missed call list by just highlighting them and pushing the dial button. Now I'm going to show you features in how these phones integrate with the intercom. Here we have the i62 Doorphone. It's also an access control system. So with the cards, they can be tapped and that'll open the door. From any phone where we've programmed an unlock door button, you can also push that to unlock the door. While it's unlocking the door, you'll notice that the light will flash. Here's the button on this phone. The door stays unlocked for about 5 seconds and then auto locks afterwards. If you want to see who is at the door or just use this as a video surveillance screen, then we would have provided you with a button that says View Door. If you push the View Door button, you'll just see who's at the screen. Hello. This can stay on the phone indefinitely if you want to just monitor the camera. You can still get calls, and it will just cancel the screen, cancel the video screen when you get another call. And you can go right back to monitoring again. Now, when you're watching the screen, there's no audio, so you're not hearing who's at the door, and they're not hearing you. In order for that to work, you would actually have to make an intercom call or receive an intercom call from the door phone. So if somebody were to come up to the door phone and push the call button, then however we programmed it, in this case, I programmed it to ring this phone first and then ring this phone if this phone doesn't answer. And while it's ringing, you would then answer the call and you can get video and two-way audio with the person at the door. There's the video. I can now answer and I can talk to whoever's at the door. Hello. At this point, if I want to let them in, I have a couple of different options. I can push the unlock door button. If I'm using this particular model handset, which is cordless, then I might be a little bit further away from the phone. We've programmed a convenient button here that this one will unlock the phone. The lower button here would be used to hang up the call. I can do the reverse, and I can use the phone to call the door. In this case, I've got a speed dial button for that. And now I'm on an audio call with the intercom. I just want to point something else out with this particular model phone. If you tap the video image, it does go to full screen, so you can get a better image of it. And if you tap it again, it goes back to a window. I'll give you a quick example on this phone, also how to unlock the door. In this case, it's going to ring this phone, but I'm not going to answer it. And I programmed this one to ring after a couple rings if nobody's answered. Now I'll answer the call over here. Now we can see who's there, and we can talk two-way audio. However, the button that unlocks the door is that bottom left one. So we do got to remember that that was the button since the video is full screen. And if I push that button, even though it's not labeled anymore because the video is covering it up, it still works. And we've unlocked the door. There's also another way to unlock the door, which is using the keypad. The star button on the keypad will also always unlock the door. I'm going to demonstrate to you now how to connect Bluetooth headsets to these phones. I'm going to go through the menu options on all three phones at the same time, just so you can see how they differ. But I'm actually only going to connect my Bluetooth headset, which is right here, to one of the phones, just because you can't connect it to all three at the same time. So we're going to go into the menu button. Menu, menu, menu. And then we're going to go to basic. And hit the enter button. On the touch screen, of course, we just can tap basic. There we go. Now, it's way down at the bottom of the options is Bluetooth. And on this one, we can just tap Bluetooth. Then we have to turn on the Bluetooth. So we're going to tap on Bluetooth, and we're going to press, on this one, we're going to push the right button, which turns it to enabled. And I'll hit OK. Right button. OK. And then here I've got enabled. OK. So now all three phones are in Bluetooth mode. I'm just going to demonstrate on this middle one here how to pair. So I'm going to move down to paired devices, and there's a scan option. So first I'm going to enable my Bluetooth headsets. These things have to be opened into the open position. Oops, and it closes on me. Here, I'm going to open it. I'm just going to put it, harder than it looks. I'm going to have to hold it here off to the side. So it's got to be open, and then I can scan. It comes up there as number 1, and I can press link. Pairing. Connected. Okay, so now I've got an icon next to my headsets that are paired. I could then take these little buds out so that they stay active, and then I'll return out of this menu. Now, stuff that we'll notice is there is a Bluetooth icon at the top of the screen to indicate that there is a Bluetooth headset paired and ready for use. The way in which we would use this Bluetooth headset is by turning this button on here. So kind of think of it like a speakerphone. If I wanted to make a speakerphone call, I would push this button. And if I want to make a headset call, I would push this button. And now it's coming through the headset. So you can have them both here at the same time. We're making a headset call or a speakerphone call. This counts as a handset and would always work. So you can always lift up the handset to make a handset call. Now, what about when you want to, let's suppose, just use the keypad to dial, or if you've got a button on a headset, like I think these ones have a thing where I can tap the headset and it will answer a call. So to utilize those features, we're going to turn on auto headset. So I would have put a custom button here called headset or auto headset. If I enable that, now it adds an extra icon on the top of the screen here that's a picture of a headset. That means the default behavior of the phone will always be through the headset. So all I've got to do now is dial a phone number, and it always assumes that it's going to go through the headset. See, it turned on the headset icon right away. So in this case, you don't actually have to push the headset button anymore. Anytime you go to make or receive a call, the headset will be engaged. So for example, I'll just call that phone. And if I just push the answer button, it's already put on the headset. Oops, it's a bit loud. Yeah, mute helps. So yes, it's already defaulted to using the headset or the Bluetooth headsets instead of speakerphone or instead of the handset. Right, and that can be toggled off to return back to manual behavior. And in manual behavior, you'll have to actually push the headset button if you want to use the headset. I also want to point out to you that the Bluetooth icon on the top does indicate when you're paired to the headset. In this case, with my little earbuds, when I close the lid, it actually kills power to the headset. And when I do that, the Bluetooth icon disappears on the screen, so it is no longer paired to the headset. With these models, I just simply open up the lid and take the earbuds out again, and in a few seconds, it lets you know that the headset is reconnected to the phone. If you're going to be changing headsets, or perhaps you need to pair these to a different device and you want to stop them being paired to the phone, we're going to go back into the Bluetooth menu, down to Basic, down to Bluetooth, and right on the screen, there's a clear option. So if we do clear, you want to clear the Bluetooth config, okay. So what that's done is that's disabled the Bluetooth, but also deleted the pairing from these earbuds to that phone. That means we'll be able to pair them with another phone if we want to. I'll do a quick demo of pairing to this phone since it is quite different in the way it works than the other twos, but this model is going to Bluetooth pair exactly the same as this one. Bluetooth, Bluetooth enabled. We have to open the headset, scan. There it is. Click the one and link. All right. After it's linked, we've got the Bluetooth logo at the top. I'm just going to take these out for a moment. A little bit different on this model phone because this model is actually also communicating with the handset by Bluetooth. So you actually have two Bluetooth logos. A little bit difficult to see on this tutorial, but one of them is a Bluetooth logo with a little picture of a handset next to it. That's referring to this one. And the other Bluetooth logo is for the headset. So they will both work at the same time. If I pick up this one, I'll be using the Bluetooth handset. And if I've enabled my auto headset mode, now it's put the headset on the screen, and anything I dial is going to be using the headset now. And if I don't have the auto headset enabled and I want to make a call, it's going to assume the speakerphone will be used unless I toggle it over to the headset. So I'd have to use this to manually control back and forth between how I want to make the call. To disband the Bluetooth headset on this model, we'll go back into Bluetooth, Basic, Bluetooth, Bluetooth, and clear. Do you want to clear? Okay, and that's it. Now these can be paired with another device. If you need to connect the phones to a wireless network because you don't have a hardwired internet connection available, then I'm going to show you how to do that right now on these phones. You'll need a power supply to power the phone separately. Normally, if you're on a hardwired connection, then you're getting power from the Ethernet cable connected to the phone. In this case, if you don't have an Ethernet cable connected, you'll need a power supply to power up the phone. Then this is how you get it onto Wi-Fi. Just so you realize, when this light is flashing here on the first button extension, as you can see, there are red lights flashing on all 3 of these phones. That is indication that there is no internet, although the phone is powered up. And a funny thing is you will get a dial tone on a phone that is not connected to the internet. It is a simulated dial tone. It's just for you to test the speaker, but it does not indicate that the phone is ready to make a call. Finally, the words dial appear at the top is also an indicator that there's no internet going to the phone. All right, we're going to go into menu, down to basic. Last option on the menu is WLAN, wireless LAN. Hit OK. And similar to when we were doing the Bluetooth, we just push right to enable it. Now it says it's OK, and it's kind of activated a whole bunch of additional settings for wireless. We're going to go down to available networks. Go in here, and we're going to find the network that we're hosting. In my case, it's Modern Telecom. So I'm going to push link onto Modern Telecom. And now I've got to type my password. So be mindful here that you're only able to use this keypad to type your passwords. When this button right here is labeled 1, 2, 3, that means whatever I type here is going to be numbers. If I push this again, it's lowercase letters. I push it again, it's uppercase letters. And then there's one that is kind of like a uppercase first letter, additional letters are lowercase. I'd be wary about that one. And this one that's numbers and letters is a combination of however many you push the numbers. I find that a bit confusing as well. So let's just stick to the first one, numbers, and the next one will be letters. So my password is, for demonstration purposes here, is 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. Let's go through that together. I'm in numbers mode, 1, 2, 3, 4, easy part. Now I'm going to push this until I get to capital letters. Now I've got capital letters, so I'm going to push A. And in order to get to the B, I'm going to have to push the number 2 twice. B, it says so on the screen. To get to the C, I'll have to push the number 2 3 times. A, B, C. There we go. All right, and to get to D, I'll have to push just the number 3 once. It says D. All right, that's the end of my password. I'm going to hit OK. And now we're just going to wait. There's a spinning wheel that appears at the top. And after a few moments, it'll change to a check mark. All right, once it's got the check mark, we can just kind of return out of this menu. And now we've got a green light next to our extension, and the name of my extension is now listed on the top. The flashing red light has stopped, so we are successfully connected to Wi-Fi. If this doesn't work immediately, I have found sometimes a reboot of the phone will then immediately connect it. So to reboot the phone, we'll go to menu, down to basic, and I believe it's right here at the end, reboot phone. Okay, are you sure you want to reboot? Yep, we are. I hit OK, and now it's going to reboot. So as long as it accepted the Wi-Fi by putting the green check mark, sometimes you'll just have to reboot it afterwards to get it onto the internet. While that's rebooting, I'm going to show you the Wi-Fi configuration on this one. So we're going to go into menu, basic, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, WLAN. Here's where we would choose enabled or disabled. So I'm going to enable that. Here's where we're going to click our networks. There we go. We have to choose our network. There's mine. I can just touch it with the screen. Modern Telecom, link. And now we got to type the password. Same as before. Here's our numeric. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to tap this until it shows me capital letters. A, B. Oh, I think I actually put the wrong number there. Let's go back one. Let's go back the whole thing because I really can't be sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Capital letters A, B. Pays to just do this slowly and right the first time. D. Okay. We wait till we get the check mark. There we go. We have a check mark. So now we can return. All right, in this case, it hasn't instantly connected. So don't worry about it. It did give me the check mark, so it did connect to the Wi-Fi. it probably just needs a reboot. So to reboot this phone, we're going to go into Menu, Basic, and Reboot System. Reboot. Are you sure? Okay. There we go. It's come back up online, and I can see that it's green at the top, and it shows my name at the top, and there's no more flashing red light. So we are definitely connected to the internet. Again, don't let the dial tone confuse you. That is a simulated sound just to test the speaker. Actually make a test call to make sure you're working. There we go. 2 phones connected to Wi-Fi calling each other. If you come into the office and find your phones looking like this, all dark screens with red lights at the tops, don't be alarmed. This is a power saving feature. The phones go into a sleep mode when they haven't been used for 8 hours, and anything you do on the phone will wake it up. Touching the screen or pressing any button on the phone. Thanks for watching.